Whenever there is decline in righteousness, O Bharat, and there is exaltation of unrighteousness, I descend myself. For the protection of good and destruction of evil, for establishing dharma, I am born again and again. Battle of Tololing and Three Pimple, a film made by 2nd Battalion Rajputana Rifles.
Operation in Kargil sector, codenamed as Operation Vijay, were associated with one of the most remarkable campaigns in the history of Indian Army. Nothing has united the nation so cohesively in recent memory as the blatant violation of our territorial integrity by Pakistan and the resolute response to it by our armed forces. Tololing was the first intrusion to be cleared by the Indian Army, and the 2 Rajputana Rifles had the honor of doing so.
A misadventure of Pakistan of intruding and breaking the sanctity of the line of control came to light as a glaring reality before mid-1999, when own patrols and locals confirmed the presence of intruders from Pakistan inside our territory. This act by the enemy was a brutal stab to the Indian effort of brotherhood and peace. The enemy intruded the 140-kilometer-long line of control and held the indomitable peaks with regular army, armed with heavy automatics, mortars, guns and missiles. Needless to say, we were against heavy odds.
8th Mountain Division was included on 17th May 1999 and tasked to clear the intrusion. The enemy had intruded from the bases across Marpola, Bimbat, Kaksarbal, Shakma regions and areas across Batalik, and had occupied Indian posts Tiger Hill, Point 5100, Point 5140 and Tololing Complex.
56th Mountain Brigade under Brigadier Amar Aul, Uttam Yudh Seva Medal, was tasked to clear Dras sector of all enemy presence by recapturing Tololing Point 5140 and the 3 Pimple Complex.
The mammoth feature of Tololing, having an altitude of more than 16,000 feet, situated at crow flight distance of 4 km from Dras. It directly dominated the National Highway 1 Alpha and made the movement of own convoys extremely difficult.
The Tololing Ridge comprised of Tololing Top, Hump, Saddle and Point 5140. wherein the Tololing feature had point 4590 to the southwest, Barbad bunker to the southeast and Tololing top.
2 Rajputana rifles was tasked to capture Tololing. To quote the then General Officer commanding 8th Mountain Division, Major General Mohinder Puri Uttam Yudh Seva Medal.
2 Rajrif was the battalion which first arrived on the scene, and they were given the task to capture Tololing. We took about 11 or 12 days to really prepare for this operation. The battalion had to get acclimatized. The commanding officer and the rest of the officers had to carry out a proper reconnaissance of the objective. So this took about 11-12 days, and by that time I was quite confident that at least the battalion was ready for the task for which I had sort of earmarked them.
Meanwhile, 2 Rajputana rifles started acclimatizing at Sonmarg. With the task at hand, preparation were on at right earnest. The 4 days given for the acclimatization to operate at 15 to 18,000 feet were well utilized, and soon Sojila witnessed the crossing over of a war machine that would create the history. Once into the battle zone, extensive reconnaissance was carried out to obtain the vital first-hand information about the task. The overall scenario was further confirmed by aerial reconnaissance.
The final plan was bidirectional along the southeast and southwest direction. The valiant Rajputs, spearheaded by Delta Company with Alpha Company as reserve, were tasked to attack the southwest direction to annihilate the enemy at point 4590. Likewise, the gallant charts were to be launched 30 minutes later along southeast approach, led by Charlie Company to capture Tololing top, followed close at heels by Bravo Company. The stagger of 30 minutes was given to mislead the enemy about the actual point of attack.
Detailed briefing and rehearsals were carried out, and the colossal task of logistic build-up involving dumping of ammunition at each fire base commenced. The build-up of an enormous 800 porter loads having an 11-hour turnaround was taken single-handedly by the quartermaster of the battalion, Major Pawan Singh Rathore. To quote the then General Officer commanding 8th Mountain Division.
3 or 4 days before the attack was to be launched, I went and spoke to the men. I addressed the whole battalion and spoke to them of their regimental traditions, of the old history of the battalion, how well they had done in various wars, the fine commanders which they had in the battalion, this commanding officer who was an outstanding person. And I also mentioned to them that, look, war comes once in a lifetime.
On 11th June, letters were written and left behind if someone did not return.
Dearest Papa, Mama, by the time you get this letter, I'll be observing you all from the sky, enjoying the hospitality of Apsaras. I have no regrets. In fact, even if I become a human again, I will join the army and fight for my nation. If you can please come and see where the Indian Army fought for your tomorrow. As far as the unit is concerned, the new chaps should be told about this sacrifice. I hope my photo will be kept in the Alpha Company Mandir with Karni Mata. Whatever can be taken should be done. Contribute some money to orphanage and keep on giving some rupees to Rukhsana per month and meet Yogi Baba. Best of luck to Buddy, and never forget this sacrifice of these men. Okay then, it's time for me to join my clan of the Dirty Dozen. My assault party has 12 chaps. Best of luck to you all and live life king size.
The blessings of Karni Mata were sought as the traditional aarti was performed at the fire base, where the men prayed to the Almighty as faith and firepower merged as a lethal war weapon.
The gunners started their game of havoc at 1700 hours on 12th June when 120 guns pounded the Tololing Ridge incessantly, pouring their venomous TNT. However, the enemy moved to the leeward slope. thereby suffering less casualties.
At 2000 hours, the men of 2 Rajputana rifles were ready and raring to go, and the CEO gave his final pep talk, saying, "I have given you what you wanted. Now you have to give me what I want." The men were so charged up that late Subedar Pawarlal interjected and said, "Sahab, subah ki chai hum toloning par piyenge." Ghatak platoon was the first to set up the tempo of operations. The Ghataks under Captain Kenguruse had infiltrated behind the enemy defences to establish a block at Area Saddle. Delta Company attempted a frontal assault and was stalled by heavy machine gun fire and heavily reinforced Point 0590, forcing them to establish a foothold at Area Rock. As expected, the enemy had readjusted itself at Point 0590 by thinning out on Tololing Top.
30 minutes later, Charlie Company under Major Vivek Gupta started its assault, with the enemy having been already biased towards Delta Company. Sandwiched between the Ghataks and the assaulting companies, the enemy was completely surrounded and shocked.
2 platoons of Charlie Company assaulted the top, while Major Vivek Gupta, along with the reserve platoon, attacked from the rear and closed in to the top, in a fierce, night-long, hand-to-hand combat with the enemy.
Simultaneously, Delta Company took on the onslaught of the enemy counterattack but held on. The reserve platoon under Havaldar Sultan Singh attacked Barbad Bunker from the rear and captured it.
It was now for the reserve company under Major Acharya to take on Point 4590. Captain Vijayant Thapar with his platoon rushed on to Point 0590, which fell in a frenzy as the enemy had no other options but to scoot. Cornered and with no getaway, at 0600 hours on 13th June 1999, Colonel M.B. Ravindranath radioed a simple message to his commander, Brigadier Orr. "Sir, I'm on Tololing Top." Tololing Top successfully captured on 13 June 1999.
The host of the cup of tea, Subedar Bhawarlal, was martyred, but Top once again lay at the infantryman's feet. 2 Rajputana rifles had proven once again to the nation that it is the infantry that has no word impossible in its dictionary. We, the infantarian, make the impossible things simply possible. The capture of Tololing was the first victory of the nation, which paved the way for further triumphs.
The booty in the form of arms and ammunitions that was captured was so phenomenal that, left to the Pakistanis, they would have held on forever. The battalion was relieved by 18 grenadiers on 15th June 1999 for some well-deserved rest. A long battle had been successfully concluded, but the campaign had just begun.
The Dras Bowl would not be secure as long as the Black Rock complex was still being held by the enemy, as it directly overlooked the highway and was held in strength.
The plan for the capture of this formidable ridgeline was formulated, and 2 Rajputana rifles was once again called upon to capture the 3 pimples, Knoll and Lone Hill. This feature had one of the toughest terrains in the complete sector, with near vertical cliffs and jagged peaks. Moving up these slopes was next to impossible.
The attack on the knoll commenced on 28th June under Major Padmapani Acharya, but was stalled due to enemy's heavy automatic fire. Seeing no headway, Major Acharya rushed on to the machine gun bunker from the flank, and unmindful of his grievous injury and profusely bleeding abdomen, he charged the remaining bunker and captured it by 0300 hours.
Having gained a foothold on the knoll, the company's second-in-command, Captain Vijayant Thapar, realizing that the entire company was now in the wake of being annihilated by accurate enemy fire, launched the attack on the enemy. his men too followed suit under the cries of Raja Ramchandra ki Jai and captured it. Captain Kangaroo removed his shoes and started scaling the slippery, bone-chilling, icy rock face with his team. He came upon a bunker 20 meters short of the top and assaulted it. This alerted the bunker on the top, which hurled on boulders and opened up with heavy volumes of machine gun fire from point-blank range. Under the barrage of hurling rocks, many of them fell down from the cliff.
The attack by Alpha Company was now taken over by Nayab Subedar Sunayak Singh. Unmindful of his personal safety, he called for the direct artillery fire onto the bunker. Lieutenant Colonel Sandeep Kala, the second in command of the battalion, personally directed the Bofors on the bunker and silenced it.
However, the Lone Hill was still holding out, making the rest of the capture ridgeline untenable. Bravo Company under Major S.S. Bajaj now established a fire base at Knoll, hurling lead and death to the enemy at Lone Hill, relieving the pressure on the Delta Company. The enemy, rallying under the weight of attack and having been surrounded from all sides, was shattered in a broad, daring day and night attack. A platoon of Delta Company under Major Mohit Saxena and a platoon of Bravo Company under Lieutenant Rothela stormed the position of Lone Hill from the front and the rear. Three Pimple, Black Rock and Knoll successfully captured on 29 June 1999. And by 1700 hours on 29th June 1999, it lay at their feet.
This was one of the bloodiest battles to be fought during Kargil conflict. The 2nd Battalion, the Rajputana Rifles, capture of Three Pimples complex was their second overnight success after the capture of Tololing. The battalion suffered the highest number of officers' casualty in the war and was awarded 4 Mahavir Chakras, 7 Veer Chakras, 9 Sena Medals, 1 Mention in Dispatch, 4 Chief of Army Staff Commendation Cards, 2 GOC in C Northern Command Commendation Cards.
Never before in India's rich military history has a battalion taken everything that the enemy could hurl on it and still stood its ground, serving on as little as they did. Even the God must have applauded the value of grit, unflinching spirit of the brave soldiers of second to none, as they looked down from the high heavens.
In short, the whole nation rose to give a standing ovation to this gallant feat, in which, breaking all protocol, the then Chief of Army Staff, General V.P. Malik, announced an instant unit citation to the 2nd Battalion, the Rajputana Rifles, in recognition of its indomitable willpower, valor, courage, and determined leadership.
At last, the guns were silent and India emerged victorious. It has been said that a nation without heroes is a nation without a future. The Kargil conflict brought a surfeit of real heroes, men of unsurmountable resolve with nerves of steel who laid their lives on the line of their nation. Young officers, JCOs and Jawans of 2 Rajputana Rifles and the Indian Army gave the term courage under fire a new meaning. They were unwavering leaders and unflinching followers, valiant men who hallowed Kargil's high mountain tops with their blood and selfless sacrifice.
ऐ मेरी ज़मीं अफसोस नहीं जो तेरे लिए 100 दर्द सहे महफूज रहे तेरी आन सदा चाहे जान मेरी ये रहे ना रहे मेरी ज़मीं महबूब मेरी नस नस में तेरा इश्क बहे फीका ना पड़े कभी रंग तेरा जिस्मों से निकल के खून कहे मैं मिल जावा गुल बन के मैं खिल जावा, इतनी सी है दिल की आरज़ू। तेरी नदियों में बह जावा, तेरे खेतों में लहरावा, इतनी सी है दिल की आरज़ू। सरसों से भरे खलियान मेरे, जहाँ झूम के भंगड़ा पा न सका, आबाद रहे वो गांव मेरा, जहाँ लौट के वापस जा न सका। ओ वतना में मेरे वतना में, तेरा मेरा प्यार निराला था, कुर्बान हुआ तेरी असमत पे मैं, कितना नसीबों वाला था।
At this juncture of 20th anniversary of Kargil Divas, we pay salute to our martyrs, and at the same time, we take an oath that we will continue to maintain the finest traditions of our battalion to ensure that the unit's flag and the national flag is always high.